Hari Om everyone, welcome to this class on Kathopnishad. So we are into the third chapter, third Valli, the first chapter, Pratham Adhyay, Tritiya Valli. We are nearing the end of this one. It's a very important and very beautiful part because this contains the main knowledge portion, introduction to the knowledge portion, which will be further expanded for making it more simpler for those people who go on to it later on. So now we'll start with the Shanti part. We'll do the chanting. You can chant at your end, and then we will continue. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आन शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः So let's start in this class. We have been looking at the Kathopnishad. Kathopnishad, we have seen the initial part where the story of Nachiketas, he, after watching his father doing a yajna, is led into the path where he has to go to Yamadharmaraja, the Lord of Mrityu. And so there he is able to get three boons, out of which two are related to the benefit of the people. The first, the family; second, the his village; and third, his knowledge. He asked for the self knowledge. So that is the most important one, and that is the main purpose of the Upanishad, of course. So Upanishads are all about the knowledge portion of the Vedas. So when we are talking about Jnanam here, the first, this book is divided into two parts, basically two chapters, and each has three sub-chapters or valli. So, do adhyay, teen valli. So, in the first chapter, third valli is what we are looking at right now. So, initially, Yamaraja looks at Nachiketas and decides to test him. So, he sees if he has the qualifications, the sadhan chatushta sampatti, which is Vivek, Vairagya, Mumukshutvam, and Shamadhi, Shat Sampatti. Then after testing him, he even checks whether he succumbs to praise. He praises him a lot. And then ultimately when Nachiketas persists, he starts with the knowledge. And initially he starts with eulogizing or praising about the knowledge, saying this is the best knowledge, and just mentioning in passing or in short what is this Atma Jnanam. And now in this part, now he's finally coming to the part where he is expanding about this knowledge. So we've seen up till the 12th mantra. We didn't complete it actually. So sorry, 10th and 11th. These come together. So 10th and 11th we have seen so far, but I will just go back and have a look at them. And I will have to add some more here because this is a very important mantra. These two are you can say, the crux of the Upanishad. The whole of the remaining Upanishad will be upon expanding this part. So, so 10th and 11th, just I am going momentarily back to the ninth one. So here we started with the Vijnana Sarthi Yah Tu. The one with Vijnanam, no? The one who has knowledge. Because unless the knowledge is there, unless the buddhi has this Vijnanam, it will not be able to control the mind. Right? For mind to be controlled, The buddhi has capability to control. But for that, buddhi must have the right knowledge, right? Otherwise, of course, buddhi will still control. Because what is the job of the mind? The job of the mind is to give you options, right? Through vrittis, through thoughts, it will give you various options that can be coined for a particular situation. And then the mind, the intellect will decide, right? So now, if your knowledge is related to what we call prayers, only enjoying yourself, then it will choose those things only, right? And when it chooses those things, then it will also be able to go into that section where it will be able to get this knowledge and apply it in the right manner, right? So when we are talking about applying this knowledge, then the application of this knowledge must be in such a way that we have to move towards the self knowledge, atma jnanam, right? So when we are talking about atma jnanam, then this atma jnanam will be related to discovering of my true nature. So this is what has been described a bit earlier also, and we will continue later on. So, so this Vijnana Sarthi Yahatu, the one who has the knowledge, the right knowledge, then Manaha Pragrahavan Naraha. He will be able to control the mind, right? If he doesn't control, then his direction will be towards the prayers. That is, if it's so, it is said in later also in this same very same Upanishad also that the yatha karma tatha shrutam, whatever is the knowledge that you have, whatever you have heard, according to that your actions will be, your karmas will be. That is in the second chapter, second Valli, 227, right? And so therefore, if there is the right knowledge, then the right knowledge will lead us to the part where we can enter into the right the study of the scriptures. So now, manaha pragrahavan naraha, the manaha, when it is held tightly in its reins, then this so advana param apnoti tad vishnoho paramam padam. So then this person gains this param padam of Vishnu. So here we have understood clearly that Vishnu is the Lord, but the Lord has two aspects. One is his aspect of the form, the Sopadik, or the one with the features. So, but the Paramam Padam is specially mentioned. Why Paramam Padam? Because that is his real or ultimate nature. So that ultimate nature is what? The ultimate nature is of true, formless reality, right? The consciousness aspect or the Satchitanand Swarupa. That is his real form. So that is not something that can be grasped. It is not something that we can really see. Even in Bhagavatam, no, Naradji asks him to show his true form, and he shows his Vishvarupa. So when he shows, then again at the end he says, "What you have seen is still my Maya Rupa, is still my form of Maya. That original form of mind is beyond the senses. So you have to go through it to only a knowledge. That is why whenever we are approaching this Vishnu Padam, we have to be very, very careful. Anything that I see, anything that I experience outside of me, that is not the reality, right? If even in samadhi, or even in my state of meditation, if there is something that I'm seeing, then it is not the Atma is something that will come and stand in front of you and you can see it. No, it has to be a mental understanding. That is what we have to be always very, very, very clear about. It has to be a mental understanding, right? So until and unless we get this mental understanding, that we don't have to physically travel, right? That param apnoti, apnoti to you reach that, but reaching is not a physical reaching. It is a mental understanding. Because if it were a physical reaching, then if you have to travel somewhere, then you will also come back, or you will lose that position also sometime or the other, right? So where if something is away from you, that means it is not here, right? If it is not here, that means you have not reached that Vishnu Parampadam. It is somewhere far from you. So that Vishnu is not far. In fact, he's so close to you that you don't have to even try to touch him. Sparsham kiska karte? We touch something. What do we touch? If I say I touch this table, do I touch it really? I don't touch it. Remember the word I, right? Why? Because if I'm touching this, my sense organ is touching it. And my sense organ is touching it. In between also, that signal is going to the mind. There also my consciousness, me, I am not touching it, right? So for me to touch it, it has to be a physical understanding. Lord can never be even a millimeter away from you. He is your own Swarupam, that Paramatma. So if he is your own Swarupam, it has to be a conceptual understanding. It has to be a mental understanding. It can never be somewhere you can reach through travel, or somewhere you after death you can go. No, you in living state, in the current state in this world, that Lord is available to us. That is what we have to be very clear about. So now when we know that this Vishnu Padam we have to attain, what is the nature? What is the nature of this Param Padam? So if we have, we will later see on the scriptures that that Lord, that ultimate Lord is the one from which everything is being projected. So what is the sequence described there? The sequence described is that Param Brahma, that Atma, that Paramatma, from that everything is emanating or being projected, right? He doesn't change. Nothing changes. He never changes himself into something else. Otherwise, he will be endowed with parts. So he cannot be endowed with parts. Otherwise, whatever has parts will also die one day. Whatever has parts will perish one day. So obviously, he is not with. So obviously, this universe is a projection. So what is the first line of projection from that? The first line of projection is the universal mind, Mahat. Mahat is the first thing that comes into it. That is the blueprint of the whole universe. From that comes from that comes yeah, before Mahat, you can also say in the unmanifest state, what is that? That is the Maya of the Lord, Prakriti. So Maya is not something separate from the Lord. Just like me and my energy, my power, my Shakti are not separate from me. Similarly, the Lord's power is not separate from him. And so through this Shakti or through this Maya, or you can say Prakriti, he manifests this world using the intermediary of Mahat. So this we'll see here also. So this Mahat then manifest all the five elements. These five elements make up all the bodies, right? And then from these bodies, we have the level of subtleness. From first from the total, we come to the individual. So the individual intellect, individual buddhi, then the individual mind, then the individual uh, total body, so the gross body, right? All of these are built out of the five elements from the different parts of the five elements, right? From the from the sattvic ansh of the five elements, the mana buddhi come. From the rajasic part, the prana shakti comes, the life force that moves us, that keeps us alive. And then finally, through the tamasic part of the five elements come these gross body. So these five elements coming from Mahat. So now, what is my experience? My experience is I identify with the body. I think I am the body. So that is why now Yamadharma Raja is going to take us in the reverse journey, right? He will take us in the reverse journey. So change your identification. Change your identification, move it from the body to your consciousness. That is what he is slowly taking us. So what is this journey? It's a very beautiful, a very exciting journey. What does it, where does it take us? Indriyabhya parahartha. So first step he has left out itself. What is the first step? First step is shariram, right? The body. So, so whatever is the body is the holder of all of these. So when this body is the first point through which we interact with the world, we identify most with the body. Also because it is solid, right? Same way, if you look outside also, no, we identify with the element that is the solidest, that is the earth, Prithvi Tattva. We remember more about the things that we can see, we can visualize, right? And so the Prithvi Tattva is something that we can see. Even Jal Tattva, we are not able to we are not able to get that kind of total closeness of experience with, and so more with the subtler parts. Then with the subtler part, what happens? So remembering someone's scent or remembering someone's touch. We don't remember easily. So, like if there is a dog, then that dog maybe remembers the scent more clearly because he has more of a samskara of scent. So he can, but us humans, we don't remember the scent of a person. We remember more of the sight or the look of the person, right? Something that you can touch. जिससे हम स्पर्श कर सकते हैं. So that is what we remember. So as we go more subtler and subtler into the mind, into the intellect, they seem less real to us. But what about the person with viveka? What about the person with the intelligence? He sees that these are all successively the cause and effect, right? The body is an effect. What is the cause of that? The five elements. So he gives more reality to the five elements. And similarly, as you go back, we will understand that the one that is more subtle is actually more real. Why? Because it is the cause from which it's come out, right? So if I use any substance, if I use let us say atta to make roti. So if I'm using that, then what is more real? Atta is real. The roti is perishable. It perishes faster. And the actual material is more real. Or if I use gold to make an ornament, then the gold is more real than the ornament. Same way as we go subtler and subtler, they are more real. So next comes after Shariram is Indriya. So Indriya is more subtle or more real or more pervasive. We use all these three terms, right? Pervasive because it has more wider area of action. So why? Because body runs by the sense organs. Unless the sense organs are there, our body is not going to be active. We will be sleeping. So as soon as the sense organs start to function, then only the body will get up and move. In sleep or in deep sleep, the sense organs are not functional. So therefore, the body is also as though dead or as though without any sense. So therefore, the sense organs are more superior to the body. And then as we go as per the Shruti. So here, Indriyebhyaha Paraha Arthaha. So this we saw that the sense objects are more subtler than the sense organs. So here again, the catch was what? What is the catch? That the sense organs, we can see they are gross. So why is he saying that they are subtler? So there we have to understand, Shankaracharya Bhagwan very kindly tells us that when the artha is there, you don't cognize the artha as something outside of you. It comes into your mind. So anything enters into your mind in the form of a thought. So thought is more subtle than the sense organs. So our thoughts are more subtler than the soul. So artha represents thoughts because every artha, every sense object is related to some thought, in some thought in our mind. And then Arthebhyascha param manaha. The mind is even more subtler. Why? Because some people say the mind is just a flow of thoughts. That is not exactly correct. The mind is the substratum from which thoughts arise and into which they go back. It is the upadan karan. It is the material cause. So in the mind, the thoughts arise. In the mind, the thoughts subsist and move and do their activities. And again, into the mind, they merge. You do have a vacant mind, no? When you are not thinking anything or when you're going into samadhi, then the mind is vacant. No thought is there. Still, the mind is there. Mind is still there. That means mind is more subtler. Then manasastu para buddhi. So we saw this buddhi also. Why? Because buddhi can control the mind, right? Mind can have lots of choices to give you. Ultimately, who will choose from them? Buddhi. So buddhi is more subtle. Then buddhehe atma mahan paraha. So there was a video also shared there. It was showed that it was translated as atma, but not exactly atma it should be, which the clue we got in the next verse also, that here the word we have to substitute for atma mahan is mahat buddhi, or the total intellect, or hiranya garbha, the total intellect. And this is a very crucial part in the verse. I will come to this later, right? So buddhe atma mahan parah. So why? Because in order of subtlety, the individual intellect is less subtle than the total intellect. The total intellect is more pervasive. It is more larger. It goes through all the beings. So therefore, the atma mahan is there. And what is the other clue here? The next verse. What does the next verse say? Mahataf Paramapattam. So if it was Mahat there, then only it will match here, no? Because from the Buddhi, the Mahan Atma is subtler. Then from the Mahan Atma, what is more subtler? Paramavaktam. So that means we have to substitute Mahat only there, right? In our understanding, you don't have to go and write it down there. So Mahataf Param Avyaktam. What is the Param Avyaktam? The Avyakt, the formless Prakriti from which everything has come out, right? Param Avyaktam. So that Param Avyaktam is the most subtlest because Avyakt is lot of things, right? Avyakt is my mind is also Avyakt, my intellect is also Avyakt. Huh? So they are not seen, they are subtle things. They are beyond the grasp of the sense organs, because the mind is the cause of the sense organs. So that is why the sense organs cannot grasp the mind. So Mahatav Param Avyaktam. So the Param Avyakta is the subtlest of all of these. So which is the subtlest? That is the Prakriti from which everything has come out. The mind, intellect, everything. And the Prakriti at the total level, at the universal level. And then Avyaktat Purushah Paraha, Purushaha, the ultimate consciousness. So what is Purushaha? The consciousness that pervades the universe and is also beyond it. Purusha is what is inside us also and outside also. So what is the definition of Purusha? Puraha Shayati iti Purushaha or Puraha Sheti iti Purushaha. So this Puraha is this body. Puraha is, you use it for any city also, no? It is where people live. So where this Atma lives, this is the Puraha. Yeah, this is the body where this Atma lives. So Puraha Sheti, where it sleeps or resides or lives. So that is one. And another way of looking at Purushaha is what? Purushaha Purayati iti Purusha, that which completes everything, that from which everything has come out, that which from which everything owes its existence to. हर सब कुछ उसी से निकल गया है. So Purusha. Purnamadaha Purnamidam, we say, no? So there Purnam, what is the Purnam? The Purusha, the ultimate consciousness. So Purusha Paraha. So that is the ultimate. Nothing more beyond that. Purusha na param kinchit. There is nothing param. Why? Because it is the subtlemost. So what is the subtlemost? We shall see later also that Purusha is that final consciousness has no gunaha, no property. So if there is no guna, it is the gunas which separate one thing from another. So the definition of gunaha is also guna parthakatvat, the one that creates separation. So if this book is blue and this table is black, these gunas are separating these two. So the color, the difference in color. So any two things that are separate from each other is because they have same gunas, different gunas. But if there is same guna, you will not be able to separate. Then it will be the same substance always, right? And so what about the ultimate substance, ultimate reality? The ultimate reality, Purusha, it does not have any guna. So even Bhagwan, he does not have any guna. He does not have Uttam guna. No, Bhagwan is one with Nirguna, right? So he is without any guna. That is why Bhagwan Vishnu also told Naradji, look at me in your heart. Don't look outside. The outside part you see is just for the benefit of your eyes, something to give you satisfaction. He told a very beautiful thing there. If you want to see me, then you can see me in the stone also there. You can see me in the rivers flowing there. Everything is me only. So if you want to see a form, why do you want to see a Purusha in the form of a man? That is anthropomorphism. That is just you looking for me in yourself. So look for me in everything. I am everything there is, right? So so that is Purushat Param Kinchit Sa Kashtha Sa Paragati. That is the highest. There is nothing beyond that. It is the most supreme. So that is the Paragati that will take us to moksha, this recognition of Purusha. Right, the recognition of the nature of Purusha will take us to the Paragati, or that is moksha or liberation. So now, when we understand this Purusha as our own reality, here one very important point is here. is why is the Lord taking us in this direction? Just look at it carefully. Okay. So now first he's taking us, one is the individual level, other is the total, right? Jivatma, Paramatma. So now where is the connection happening? Watch very carefully. So first is at the individual level, he'll take you from the Shariram to the Indriya, then to the Manaha, then Buddhi, then Buddhi, he's taking us right to the total Buddhi, right? He's taking us to the next level higher. He could have gone straight to Atma. He could have gone straight to Atma and then said, your Atma is the Atma of everyone. My Atma, Mam Atma, Sarvabhut Atma. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya says in the Guru Stotram. So there, if my Atma is Sarvabhut Atma, I can understand that way also, that Atma is infinite. Why this jump from in this intermediate state? Two very important reasons. So what are the two important reasons? First is that when we understand this, we have to very clearly understand that the samashti, the total, the total universe and me are one entity. We are one entity, interconnected and inseparable. Interconnected and inseparable. So what does that bring about? It gives me a very clear picture that I have to always think of myself as the total. Why? Some gurus who are speaking from the highest standpoint, we don't understand them. You know what? They will say, I have created this world. When I go to sleep, this world will disappear. So it will not make sense to you. You will say, I went to sleep. This world is not disappearing. It is there only. I wake up and it's coming back again only. You will not be able to understand. Why we don't understand? Guru is speaking from the highest standpoint. He is speaking, when he's saying I, he's saying Atma. But when we say I am thinking of myself as the body only. That is why it doesn't make sense to me. That is why when Guru says that I have created this world, he's not talking about this I. He's not talking about the small ahankar. He's not talking about the small limited being that I think of. But my habit is that, so that doesn't make sense to me, right? So that is why I'm never able to merge. So here Yamaraja makes the jump in the intermediate step only. He doesn't want to take you to consciousness because you constantly make this mistake of thinking of yourself as the limited being. So consistently think of yourself as that highest reality, your mind as the total mind, your intellect as the total intellect, and that will give you the, you can say the CD, it will give you the ladder to jump from this lower existence to the higher. So that is why in the intermediate state he has done, right? Because owning up to the consciousness at the total level is not easy for us. I gave you the example of the hand. No? So when I say you, what do you see? You will say fingers and some dirt or whatever you will say, but you will not say light. Why? It is there, but I cannot separate the light from the hand and show it to you. It is one with the hand all the time. Same way with consciousness, right? So if I say there is a room full of people and I am seeing them all. So then again, room is emptied. So now what is happening? Again, the room is still there. So what is there? The light is still there. I fail to notice the light. Same way, I fail to notice the consciousness. So when I fail to notice the consciousness, I do not own up to, even in meditation, I go into state of blankness. I go into state of nothingness. So unless and until I understand there is something that is the substratum of everything, then that state in the meditation will not hold on. So here he has very cleverly and very, we can say benevolently, हमारा उद्धार करने के लिए, he has taken us. And what is the second important aspect of this jump? The second aspect is, for us to grab the highest knowledge, we need some ashirvad, we need some blessing from the Lord, right? And once we need that blessing, what do we have to do? I have to consider my oneness with Paramatma. And once I consider that my oneness with the Hiranyagarbha or the total mind or the total intellect, I surrender to him, I become one with him, then I feel connected to that knowledge that is about everything. So from when my connection to Hiranyagarbha is established, any knowledge that I see, I get easily because I am connected. So when I'm connected, then anything I want to see, any Shastra is open before me, I will see the meaning. Anything, any questions anyone asked about me, I go into meditation, I look there and I'll be able to answer. So that is why he wants us to connect at that level, because the knowledge that some guru will give or Shastra will give will not flash in your mind as easily, right? You need that higher connection to flash that light. You will hear it, but until you do after the Shravanam, listening, you do the Mananam, you think internally, and Nididhyasnam. Nididhyasnam is basically that only, connecting to that higher reality, so that the knowledge that you have heard, it becomes so clear to you, right? So always you will notice, no, sometimes when you are meditating, you get flashes of brilliance. You are sometimes able to say things that you don't even think you knew. You don't know that even you knew. So it is inspiration coming from inside. It can be for anyone, a singer. He will always say that the singer is closing his eyes. Why? Because he is distracting himself from the world and connecting to that Hiranyagarbha. And that brings out the most beautiful music. A writer, a poet, they get that because everything in the world is based on that knowledge from the total. It is said that nothing is new. Everything existed in some previous kalpa also. No knowledge is new. So this knowledge, when corrected into, it takes us to that paragati. So mahatav param avyaktam. And so this sequence is moved, we move into this sequence from the gross to the subtle, and from the individual to the universal. So as we move into this journey, we clearly get the connection at the right place. And once the connection is established at the right place, then we are able to see the direction in which we will do. So that is why uh, lot of people will become a bhakta, but they don't have the reasoning. They don't have this knowledge, right? Sometime in the future, the Lord will give them that knowledge, right? Everyone will get the knowledge. So it is not that bhakti will not lead you to knowledge, but till that time, whenever something horribly goes wrong, they question. They question the compassion of the Lord. They lose faith in Him. भगवान तो मेरे साथ ऐसे ही बुराई करते रहते हैं, मेरे साथ ही क्यों ऐसा होता है? Why does it everything happen to me? That is their constant question. So at that crucial time, the intellect is needed. Intellect will pose the question. Intellect will demand a logical answer. And intellect will tell you that any situation is coming to raise you higher. Unless and until you are able to give up your limitations, situations will keep coming. Until and unless you are able to conquer your thoughts, you are able to conquer the constant lower vrittis, lower thoughts of yourself. I will get sick. If you think I'll get sick, you will get sick. I will not be able to do this thing. If you think so, you will not be able to do this thing. So ultimately, situations will come that will test you. And if you can pass that test, then you can rise higher. Then the situation will not come again. Till that time, it will keep coming. So therefore, it is a blessing. Any tough situation is a blessing. The one of Vivekaha, the one of the one who has the requisite understanding will be able to see. So any situation that is easy, he doesn't rebel. Even if someone praises you too much, the person of discrimination, he will feel uncomfortable. He said, "Why are you praising me? If I've said something beautiful, someone liked it, that does not mean the knowledge came from me. That knowledge come from somewhere else. So I should not be proud of it, in fact. So I will feel uncomfortable, right? So that is why we have to be humble and understand how all that knowledge is coming. So once the intellect is able to get into this reasoning, then we get our question answer. This is called Mimamsa, language analysis. Once we analyze the language, so then the knowledge received, any knowledge you receive is conveyed through language, right? So it is the capacity of the teacher to communicate the knowledge clearly and precisely. Just like here we have uh, Yamadharma telling everything to Nachiketas. And also the student must have the capacity to receive and assimilate the knowledge. So here Nachiketas is the perfect student. So The words, they are the only way to the to communicate the knowledge. So first of all, we have seen here that we must have uh, built up our own system in the perfect way. Our body should be healthy. That if it is unhealthy, I will not be able to sit for the class. So arogyam, right? Then second part is the mind should be controlled. My emotional needs should be within my control. When my emotions are running here and there, I will never be able to focus. So when the emotions are in my control, then only can I move on to the higher stage. So I sit down in meditation, and then I'm thinking, I will think about the Lord, and then maybe some form of the Lord also maybe comes to my mind. And then thinking of that, maybe Lord is wearing a yellow sari, and I remember, I had to buy something, I had to buy a sari for my wife, or anything, any such thing, right? So in even in meditation, if my emotional control is not there, it will lead me to different thoughts, right? And that is why whenever we go into this meditative state, we have to prepare before that. It cannot be done at that time. So whenever we are doing that, to reach that Vishnu Padam, to reach that state where the Abhimanam is given up, the total doership is given up. And I just have to say that I am a sadhak, I am a Paramatma Marg sadhak. Then we have to follow this sequence. You have to follow this sequence where the mind is in control of the what we saw in the example of the Rath. In the example of the Rath earlier, that the Sarthi should be in control. Who is the Sarthi? Buddhi should be in control. So once the Buddhi is in control, then my direction is assured. Buddhi endowed with what? Buddhi endowed with the right knowledge, right? Otherwise, I will be running towards my normal routine only. I will not rise above. So once I choose to rise above, once I choose, the choice I have to make first, then slowly my mind will be in control, my Buddhi will be in control. And finally, the final part was what? That everything is in synchronized. Everything is synchronized. All of them are functioning well together. So this Atma, Man, Buddhi, all of them, when they are functioning together, that Arjavam, that we gave the name for that, that Arjavam is there. The Arjavam is telling us how all the things are synchronized. Everything has to be perfectly synchronized, then only it can do well. So, like if there is a singer, there is a classical singer. So, that classical singer will notice the smallest variation in pitch, but the same song that we are listening to, we will say, "Ah, it's okay. I didn't notice any flaw." So that comes when the perfect synchronization of that person has happened with all the aspects of the music. Similarly, the aspects of what are the aspects of our music, the music of the soul, the aspects of our music of the soul is the perfect synchronization of man, buddhi, sharir, everything. They should all be healthy. So once they are all healthy, then we can easily sit down to a place of meditation where the samshayas, all the what is samshaya? Manavritti. So that has to be destroyed. So what will destroy samshaya? Nischaya. What is the nischaya? Nischaya is the vritti of the buddhi. Right? So we hold on to the buddhi. So all the emotional problems can be conquered by the knowledge or in the intellect. Entire Gita is what? Entire Gita is about conquering the sorrow. Arjuna is prostrating before the Lord, and he's telling about his sorrow. How can he, hurt his own people? So just like his charioteer is Krishna, we have to make the Lord also as our charioteer. That is again the significance of what I told you, connecting to the total mind. Make the Lord your charioteer. Once he leads your chariot, you will never fail. You will never fall into a pitfall where you will be falling down. So this Mahan Atma, this is superior to the total intellect. It is this superior to the individual intellect. Sorry. So now, therefore, it will control it. Therefore, it will guide it. Therefore, it will lead it into the right path. Right. So therefore, the mind, it should not only go deeper, but also it should expand. So for expansion, I need to connect to the higher mind or the higher intellect. So once you are able to destroy the jnanam that you regularly have been facing, then you can move to the higher. realities, right? So now, what about this reality of we have seen Mahat in the higher sense, and then we saw Avyakt, right? So Avyakt is what we have to understand next. So I have connected my mind to the higher sense. Now I have to understand that it has come from something more subtler than it. And the avyaktam is what? The total prakriti. So what is this prakriti where everything has lapsed into it? So what is that state? That is called pralayam, right? It is called the state of pralayam. So I should be able to take my mind and intellect into that state of pralayam, but very carefully, very carefully. How? Because when we go into meditation, what happens? I am giving up all my thoughts, right? So mostly the thoughts make us move. The thoughts, they keep us active. So the moment I go into meditation and I let go of my thoughts, sleep will come. I will tend to sleep. नींद आ जाती है. So how do we conquer that? We conquer that by holding on to a higher vritti. One vritti has to be there at least. So never can meditation be blankness. Always remember. If some people teach you that thing, that is to basically a training for you to understand these thoughts are not real. But that is not the ultimate step, right? So vipassana or whatever, that is an intermediate step to that higher meditation. So what is the highest meditation? The thought that I am that, right? The thought that I am that Atma. And with that, we have to have a very, very clear understanding of my nature as Atma, that what I will be seeking for is understanding that I am the witness of everything. Everything is within me. So here we come to another very important point. If everything is within me, is there only one thing or is there many? Is it only one or is there many? So we have to, if we go to the Vedas, what is the one very important mantra that is given to lead us internally? That is Neti Neti. Neti Neti is to deny the duality of the world. Deny the. So it is magical in what way? And Neti Neti tells you this, whatever you are seeing, this is not the reality. The reality is within you, your Atma. So Neti also, in one way, it means it is not this, na iti. And it also means it is not just this, na iti. So it also means that all this is also Brahman. So never make the mistake that this world is not Brahman. This world is also Brahman, but it is yet non-dual, just like I can be a husband in the morning, I can be a boss in the office, I can be a eater of food at my lunchtime, I can be a drinker of water when I'm drinking. So whatever activity I'm doing, I associate with myself. So what word we use for that technical word? Upadhi. Whatever upadhi I take, according to that, I appear different. So I have the capability to appear different. So the duality is not there, but that does not mean only single thing is there. That means all the dualities that you see is one, is that is it can be merged into that one soul reality. So the Maya or Jagat is not something that is not there. It is there, but it is a projection. It has no reality of its own, and it has been projected by this Atma only. So everything is Atma only. It is not that this. We sometimes the word anatma becomes confusing to us. We are taught normally that Atma is the reality, anatma is whatever we see. So that does not mean that this, whatever in the true Vedic sense, it does not mean that this whatever you see is not the Atma. It means it is just that it has no reality of its own. It is all projected out from Atma. But without the Atma, it would not be there, na? Would it have appeared if Atma was not there? Right? So that is what we have to constantly remember in meditation, that when I go there, we use a Mahavakya. We use a Mahavakya to tell us that I am that reality, which is being explained in this whole sequence of the verses. That ultimately I have to own up to the consciousness. I have to own up to my true nature. So just like we look at the light in the room, and we don't notice it, right? We don't notice it, even though it's there all the time. So when do we notice it? When someone points it out to us. But can we separate it? Can we make it available that this is the light and this is the hand, or this is the room, this is the light? No, we cannot separate it. It is intimately connected. Same way with our consciousness also. The consciousness we can never separate and make it an object. It is the subject. It is the witness of everything. So this param avyaktam represents the prakriti in the nascent state, the prakriti into which everything will merge. And when does it merge? We call the state pralayam that we saw. So how do I experience that pralayam? How do I experience? When the actual pralayam will happen, I will be long gone. So many births would have happened till then, because how many years are left for this pralayam? We cannot. But yet, God has given us is gracefully every day we experience. How? In my deep sleep, right? So we saw that in other texts also. So in deep sleep, when I go there, all my thoughts merge, nothing remains. So there, still now that what is there at that time? The consciousness, right? That is witnessing. So whenever I wake up, when I wake up, then we have this logic that who was witnessing the blankness. There is a, I say first I see the things in the waking state, but in deep sleep the things disappear, but still that blankness is there. So it is that means we call the thought that is experiencing that as the abhavakar vritti, the thought that is experiencing the blankness. Right. So this abhavakar vritti, when it is being experienced, then that abhavakar vritti is experiencing the non-availability of thoughts. Right. So the consciousness is there always. So this pralayam that we see, it gives us a very good guiding point to remember that something is observing that. What is that? The Purusha, right? The consciousness. So that consciousness principle, I have to constantly own upward. So this is the micro model, right? This for this we call it the potential state or avyakta or karan avastha, right? So just like we have in our sharirams the stool sharir, sukshma sharir, karan sharir. So that karan sharir is the karan avastha or the causal state, out of which everything will then again appear once we wake up, right? So once we wake up, all the jivas will create the world according to their vasanas. So now there are two creations here, right? There are two creations. One is what we call the Ishvara Srishti. So potentially there are infinite number of jivas. According to their samskaras, according to their desires, God has created this world where you can live out your desires or live out, experience whatever you desire. And so for all those experiences, that is the jivas, that is the Ishvara Srishti. And then when the jivas enter into this Srishti, the attachments that they form, right? This is my mother, this is my father, this is my object, this is my house. That is called Jeev Srishti. This is what I create for myself. And they are the source of all my joys and sorrows, more sorrows, in fact. So when this Jeev Srishti we enter into, we, as long as we accept this whole world as Ishwar Srishti, we will not have sorrows. Nothing is mine. Everything is Ishwara's. If I give it, then also not, no. If he gives me something, then also it's not a source for exulting or becoming crazily happy. And if he takes it away from me, it is not. So I will always be in samabhava, samatvam, in state of equanimity, right? So therefore, when I start owning up to that consciousness as my nature, then I will not be disturbed by these events that are happening. I will not consider this Srishti as Jeev Srishti. I will make it an Ishvara Srishti. That is all what I have to constantly strive for as long as I am there. So this whole process that we are seeing, it takes time. In saying it takes minutes, but it takes time. If we see in the Taittiriya Upanishad, so there, for every stage, the Rishi is teaching them about the five koshas. So he's telling about the first kosha is the Annama kosha, the gross body. He gives them 8 years to practice that you are not the body, you are the pranamaya kosha, you are the life force. 8 years they have to practice. What does that 8 years mean? 8 years mean you have to constantly realize that I am the life force and not the body. So I will stop giving importance to the body. I will stop getting worried by the problems of the body. And then slowly, stage by stage, he tells them, okay, you have done sadhana, I will test you. Once you have tested it, then he tells, no, you are not the prana also. You are also, he could have stayed in one state. So knowledge is not just information. We saw there the three parts of knowledge, right? So the three parts where the first is the information, second is the mental conception, and the third is the final acceptance or owning up of the knowledge. So, so vritti, smriti, dhi. So vritti is just the thought, the knowledge. Then smriti is remembering it always. We forget the moment we go out of the class, the moment we enter our normal lifestyle, we forget. So smriti goes. So we have to hold on to that. And then the buddhi should be formed constantly, eternally, and so that my behavior is according to my nature as Atma. So once this habit is formed, then only I can actually say that I have owned up to this knowledge. So this Purushaha, this Atma, this conscious principle, we will be able to clearly see as the witness principle. That is witnessing the blank state. So that deep sleep that we are going through is witnessing that. So during deep sleep, you are not experiencing everything. And when I wake up, I say that I had a beautiful or a wonderful sleep. So absence of experience is equal to the experience of absence of experience. So once again, the absence of experience is equal to the experience of absence of so you say I did not experience anything. So I experienced nothingness. That is what we say here. So once you understand that, then you understand that this blankness also is a form of matter only. And the witness of the blankness is not matter. What is the witness? It is consciousness, because the conscious entity only can witness. So blankness comes during deep sleep or sushupti. It will depart in the waking and dream state. So I am not any of these states. That is the final realization. I am traveling through all of these three states. So that is what we call the fourth uh, or the fourth state. So there is actually, it is not a fourth state, right? Turiya. Turiya is fourth. Turiya is not something beyond these three states. Turiya is the realization that I am beyond the three states. I go through all of these three states without changing. I am the changeless substratum of these three states. I am the substratum on which these three states rise and fall, on from which they come out. So what we saw, earlier also in the case of the mind, the thoughts come from the mind, live in the mind, and go back into the mind. So the mind is the upadan karan. So similarly, all of these things that I'm seeing, they also emerge from me, and they subsist in me or live in me, and then they merge back into me. So I am the upadan karan. Strictly speaking, I'm not even the upadan karan, because everything is a projection. But you can understand it in this way, that all of these, for this, I am the source. So that is what I said. You have to be very, very careful when I say I am the source, meaning that Atma, that consciousness, that highest consciousness, or the Anant Atma is what we are talking about, right? This Jiva is not capable of, Jiva is only capable of forming relationships, right? So Jiva is not capable of manifesting. According to the vasanas of a Jiva, Ishvara will manifest this universe of things. So therefore, consciousness is there as a witness to the absence or the presence of thoughts. And I have to turn my attention to the inherent consciousness. Just like we saw, the light is illuminating the empty hall as well as the full hall. What we call an empty hall is still pervaded by light. If light is absent, we cannot say whether the hall is empty, right? We cannot say it is empty or not. So you can withdraw from the sense organs serially. You can withdraw from all the emotions. You can withdraw from even the knowledge and reach the state of blankness. So instead of turning attention to the blankness, that is what we usually do. We are focused on the blankness only. So we have to turn our attention to what is watching the blackness. What is that? The witness consciousness. You own up to the consciousness. So easily what we don't see, the light we don't see. Similarly, the consciousness we don't understand. I will not say see again because we can't see the consciousness. So to own up to the consciousness, I have to use my mind. But mind is not included. Mind is not included in that, right? So just like I use these glasses, no, I use these reading glasses for reading, but the glasses are not part of me as a person. They are not part of me. So therefore, turning is equal to owning or claiming that I am consciousness. So this Purusha is what I have to own up to. And after arriving at Purusha, what comes next? No more journey. And so that is the Kashtaha, the highest, the apex. It is the ultimate destination or goal. All the others are only intermediate stations or goals. So this is then next summed up in the next mantra. Just quickly look, we don't have much time. But so एष सर्वेषु भूतेषु गूढोत्मान प्रकाशते दृश्यते त्वग्रया बुद्धया सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः एष सर्वेषु भूतेषु गूढोत्मान प्रकाशते दृश्यते त्वग्रया बुद्धिः सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः. So, Eshaha Sarveshu Bhuteshu, all of these things that I see around me, all the beings of the world, this Good Atma na prakashate. These objects of the world, including the body, mind, intellect, they do not illuminate the Atma. Because Atma is the one that is illuminating everything. Good Atma. So, good is something hidden, right? So, hidden in what sense? Can these objects hide the Atma? Can I, are the objects bigger than the Atma? No, they are smaller. So how can they hide? They cannot hide. They hide because, because of ignorance. Because our attention is somewhere else, right? So if my attention is somewhere else, I will not notice. There was a story about two friends. They were walking, they met after a long, long time, and they were discussing the stories of each other. And then they went to a park, and then they sat around. And after coming back, they saw the wife of the one person. She said, "Look, what happened to your hand? It's bleeding." So he said, "Oh, I didn't even notice it. I didn't even notice it." Because he was so engrossed, he didn't even remember that they had crossed a fence which had those thorns, that barbed wire fence. And he didn't even notice because his mind was not there. Right. So similar way, my mind is at some other level. My mind is stuck in the objects. So they cannot actually cover me, but because of ignorance, it is hidden. Right. So Atma is bigger. It cannot be hidden. But why, how it is hidden, how it is gudaha? Only because we don't turn our attention to the right way. Right? So if I need to cover something, if I need to cover my body, I will wear some clothes. So clothes has to be bigger than me. So we remember it in the winter also. No, we take a blanket. If it is not the big right size, then it will not cover us, and forever we are struggling to stay warm. So we'll pull it from the feet and we'll feel cold in the head. And so it has to be bigger. So therefore, the Atma has to be, definitely Atma is bigger. Huh. So they cannot hide, but they misdirect us. They misdirect us. They focus our attention. So I am looking at something, and something else is happening on my side. I don't even notice it. That is why all my sense organs are dependent on the mind. If the mind is not there, the sense organs will not work, right? So even if I'm touching something, I'm just like that person got cut. His sense organ was there. His indriya is there. It's not that it was absent, but mind was not there. If mind was not there, he didn't even notice. Otherwise, normally a small cut or something small hurt, we notice instantly, right? So because the mind is there. But when we are with someone beloved or some dear friend, we get so engrossed, we don't notice a lot of things. We will look at another very beautiful example of this from in tomorrow's Purush Sukta. There is a portion there. So, so now Drishyate Tva Agraya Buddhaya. So who will see that reality? The one with Agraha Buddhi, the one with very sharp intellect. So this will also come later as about the walking on the razor's edge in one of the mantras. So one with agraha buddhi, sukshmaya, sukshmadari, who very subtle intellect. Unless mostly our intellect is gross. Why? Because whatever we observe, that is where our intellect gets stuck. Whatever we see, that till that is our thinking only. But sometimes when we do chintanam, we think, then we are able to reach into those realms that are hidden, right? So we discover some scientific truth. We discover some truth about emotions. We discover some truth that earlier gave pain to us, and we can convert that pain to joy, or you can more say you become able to bear that pain, or you are able to see that why I should not be affected by that pain. So that sukshma drishti, it takes a lot of practice, takes a lot and lot of practice. So once we through this constant practice through agraya buddhi, we can reach that state where we can develop that vision. We can develop that sukshma drishti, whereby that good atma can be prakashate. Good atma can be illuminated. How illuminated? As understanding it as my true nature, as my ultimate nature. So there is a lot to look into it in this mantra. We'll continue it in the next class. So we'll wind up for today here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Tat Sat.